Oh my gosh, I just had to let it go a little long there, so it just tickled the rev limiter. Hey crew, I've got the key to that 24 Audi RS6 Avant Performance. We are going to take it for a drive, but first, let's check it out. It looks on the inside and outside. For the 24 model year, Audi adds the word performance to the end of both its RS6 and RS7, and go figure, it does affect how they perform, but it doesn't really change how they look. Only if you get the Bronze Special Edition do you get some exterior tweaks to the car. Up front, we do have the black Optic Package, so the RS6 logo and 4 Audi rings are blacked out amidst the black gloss grille. There's also black gloss for the front splitter. The HD LED matrix headlights are standard on this car, as are the LED DRLs and turn signals. Those are above functional corner vents. This one's painted in Daytona Grey Pearl Effect, and I do like this color, especially with that metallic flake. Hard to see on a cloudy day like today, but I think a brighter color really suits this vehicle well. That's just me. I own a bright blue Cadillac Blackwing and a purple Demon 170. At the side, the RS6 gets standard 21-inch wheels, but the black Optic Package upgrades to 22-inch Y-spoke machined alloys. These look great, and they're wrapped in Continental Sport Contact 7 summer tires, 285 section front and rear. Within those wheels are massive brakes clamped on by black gloss calipers, and there are optional carbon ceramics you can equip. More gloss black details for the lower sills, door mirrors, and window trim. But the profile is the moneymaker. Nothing on the road looks like this, and I could drink it in all day. Then here at the back, there is a subtle roof-mounted spoiler, LED taillights with sequential turn signals, above a giant black gloss diffuser with 2 oval exhaust outlets, here with the optional sports exhaust. Now, in my mind, there is no dispute. This is one of the sexiest cars you can buy. But a question for you, which looks better, RS6 or RS7? My vote, RS6. Let me know in the comments what you think, and let's check out the interior. Opening up and looking inside at this black Valcona leather interior, there are 2 sunroofs as standard with the RS design package equipped. There are red accents for the stitched RS logos, the seat perforations and contrast stitching, and the borders to the seat belts. On the doors, you get sunshades, leather up top, a carbon fiber twill insert, suede insert here, padding for your armrest, injection molding down low, and a Bang & Olufsen sound system. Stepping in, so easy, don't have to duck my head at all. Behind my own seat at 6 feet tall, got plenty of knee room here. The seat back's in leather and then moves into hard plastic that I don't love, nor do I like the mesh for the mat pockets. That wears out quickly. Sliding my feet under the foot pockets, there is still a bit of a gap for thigh support. Headroom is terrific though. That gets the thumbs up from me. In the center, there's a 4-zone climate control system and rear heated seats above 2 USB-C ports and a DC outlet. There is a large drive shaft hump, so you don't want to be the middle passenger having to sling your leg over. I can fit in the middle seat though, and without a middle passenger, you do have an armrest that comes down with 2 deploying cup holders and storage inside that armrest. Let's check out the front next. I don't need to slam the door shut because there is a soft close feature, but let's listen for build quality. Oh, that's solid. Smart keyless entry is for the rear and front doors. The front seats feature some more aggressively bolstered buckets with heating and ventilation, multi-way adjustment, and 4-way lumbar. There are RS logos on the floor mats with the RS design package, aluminum accented foot pedals. You can pull up on this tab to release the lift back. And inside, find 30 cubic feet of space behind that second row, which can fold down just by pulling on these levers on the side. You've got to love the practicality of a wagon. There's the power close and lock feature on the lift back. Ooh, did forget to mention, there are thigh extenders as well on these seats. The front doors look similar to the back, more carbon fiber though, 2 positions of memory for the driver's seat, 4 one-touch windows, power adjusting, and power folding door mirrors. Stepping in and closing up that door gently. With that RS design pack, the steering wheel is wrapped in Alcantara. It's got a flat bottom and it feels great in the hands, not overly thick. I appreciate that. The paddles on the back of the wheel are not that large, but feel super high quality. The gloss black on the wheel, it is going to smudge, but at least these are physical inputs. Beyond that is a digital gauge cluster that is reconfigurable. And above is a head-up display. There's leather up on the dashboard, more carbon fiber trim underneath that, gloss black on the passenger side, and here on the console portion, not my favorite because it just collects dust and smudges so quickly. There's suede wrapping on the gear selector. Here we've got two screens. The upper screen is for your infotainment and wireless Apple CarPlay system. It has that haptic feedback so you know your input has been received. I love that. Below we've got a secondary screen for climate control and some hotkeys. There is a physical volume knob, I do appreciate that. Your drive select controls are here, and I wish they were on the wheel, or at least a physical control so you can do it more readily while driving without being distracted. Two cup holders, another DC outlet, a slot for your key under the suede wrapped console. There really isn't much storage. You do get a wireless charging pad and two USB-C ports, but man, the storage space inside this cabin isn't terrific. Visibility is great though. There's just a small blind spot at that back pillar, and there's standard blind spot monitoring with rear cross traffic. Overall, for $144,000, the cabin's still appropriately upscale with a couple questionable material choices and a subtlety to the sportiness. Now let's take the RS6 Avant Performance for a drive. All right, let's fire it up. Hello to you too, RS6 Avant. And hello to you, cabin crew. Thank you for joining me for this drive review in the 24 RS6 Avant Performance. We're going to start things off by selecting our drive mode. Here, I actually have to confirm on the screen that I am a human being. Choosing comfort, auto, or dynamic before then selecting the customizable RS drive modes. I'm going to start out in comfort, because that's how we do things here at MilesPerHr. Click the gear selector forward into reverse. That brings up a high resolution camera system. I've got the bird's eye view off to the right, and then also I've got a 3D surround view camera. Wait a sec. It's showing me an image of the old 22-inch wheels. That's not okay, Audi. We need to upgrade. Show me the new 22 Y spokes. And then back here, I've got so many different angles to choose from. Front view, rear wide angle, wheel shots, you name it. Let's go to the wide angle view and back on out. This one's really helpful if you're parked next to other vehicles. You might not be able to see around them without that camera angle. Down into drive. And of course, I will begin with the turning radius test. Let's see, lined up straight, cranking that wheel. Oh, it is sensationally tight, thanks to the rear wheel steering system as standard on the RS6 Avant. Now let's listen to the turn signal sound. It's so gentle. It's pleasant as far as the turn signal can go. Now for the world famous horn test. Woo. It carries. I feel the noise carrying far beyond my vehicle to alert anyone that they made a grave error. Let's talk powertrain. So the performance variant of the RS6 Avant is still using the same 4-liter twin turbocharged V8 and 48-volt mild hybrid system as the last model year, but now we've got larger turbos and more boost, so power is ramped up an extra 31 horsepower and 37 pound-feet of torque for totals of 621 horsepower and 627 pound-feet. All that power makes its way to the ground via an 8-speed torque converter automatic and quattro all-wheel drive system. And this auto is buttery. I don't feel the gear changes really at all. The power delivery, in comfort, the throttle response is very much relaxed. And even when you're deeper into the pedal, as you feel the peak torque come in, does have to kind of well up. It is a turbocharged unit. The twin turbo system means that you're not waiting too terribly long, but it's not going to be quite as linear as a naturally aspirated or even supercharged motor. Now, there is plenty of power though, so as you dig in, even in comfort, you can pick up the pace very quickly. And then in terms of the ride comfort with this adaptive air suspension, it's very smooth over the undulations in the road, though when I go over an imperfection in the road, I feel that as a pulse in through my seat. And I think a lot of that is owed to the fact that I'm riding on 22-inch wheels with really skinny tire sidewall. There's not a whole lot of natural cushioning that happens there, so it's all on the burden is all on the suspension to filter that out, and it can only do so much. Now the brakes, as I go to those, takes a little bit of finesse to get that smoother stop. And then at the very end, the brakes do grab up just a touch, and it's really hard to avoid that. As my pace picks up here, I'm gonna quiet up for a moment to listen to the cabin volume level. So on the smooth tarmac, not much tire noise, not much road noise. Wind noise is really quelled a lot. But as I go over, again, the imperfections, I do hear those penetrate the cabin. Not to any sort of egregious level, and I still think the cabin volume is low enough to qualify this as a true thoroughbred luxury vehicle. You're gonna enjoy your commute in the RS6 Avant, and if you've got passengers, either front or rear, you can easily carry on a conversation without needing to raise your voice all that much. And the seat comfort, these chairs are very ergonomic. They're not squeezing the life out of me. However, I will say that the padding is on the firmer side. So if you're sitting in these seats for a long time, say your commute is over an hour, you're gonna be pretty eager to get out because your legs will have gone a bit numb, though they are helped out somewhat by the thigh extenders. But that's all just the humdrum of daily life. What if you crave a bit more action? Well, for that, I'd recommend either the dynamic mode or one of your custom RS modes. Hitting this button here changes up the gauge cluster, and immediately, the way I've configured it, opens the baffles in the exhaust, permitting more of that V8 animation to pulse the air. It also downshifts, puts me in the sport transmission, and allows for that insane punch. I think I'd like that again. I also like that you can really hear those turbocharger compressors churning away here with the bigger turbos of the performance model. That's very different from the last RS6 I drove. And also, the lack of sound deadening in this new model shaves some weight, like 18 pounds, but it also just means I can hear more of all of that goodness while I feel the force of incredible acceleration. Obviously, no loss of power as it goes to the ground. All four wheels just ripping away. And my goodness. You can really feel that extra power and torque compared to the last RS6. It's just more raring to go. And I want to try out the manual mode now. Nice quick shifts. Not a ton of travel from the paddles, but they do feel good in the hand. Oof. Oh, the hit of the upshift. And it is prompt as you pull that paddle, letting me go all the way out to red line. It's a fun little punch. Oh my gosh, I just had to let it go a little long there, so it just tickled the rev limiter there, and the sound was triumphant. Fudge, this thing's fast in the mid-range. But now I'm curious about from a dig. And fortunately, I've got my race box here to offer a bit of data from a real-world 0 to 60 test. So I've got the car all ready to go. The traction control system is in sport. We're still in the sport transmission. And holding my foot on the brake, pinning the throttle, building up the revs, launch control's ready. Oh, oh my, 0 to 60 in 3.17 seconds. Hold on to your heinies, folks. That is a firm half-second quicker than the last RS6 non-performance trim that I drove. It feels like they're maybe sandbagging that just an extra 30 horsepower, 37 pound-feet bit. This thing feels faster, and it's got the data to prove it. And that's just in a straight line. The real party starts when the road begins to curve. Jeez, the urgency, the quickness of the turn-in. the redirection thanks to that rear wheel steering system, the plantedness through a corner. The RS6 feels both light on its toes and sure-footed. And this is why you want the wagon compared to an SUV. Because the SUV may have crazy amounts of power, but it will not have the lower center of gravity to just inspire confidence through corners at this kind of velocity. Oh, this thing can handle itself. It doesn't just have the ability to get this crazy power to the ground with the help of that limited slip rear differential. It doesn't just have phenomenally powerful brakes to slow it appropriately before the next curve. It just puts it all together in a way I really wasn't expecting. There is one little quirk to the performance of the R6 Performance, and that is just that it turns in so quickly with that rear wheel steering system that you have to slow the hands down a fair bit. You can't be too quick with the turn in or you'll unsettle it. But when you adapt to that, when you get in a groove with this car, you won't just keep up with very fast sports cars, you'll harass them. Before I get into the competition, let's talk top speed and fuel economy. So the top speed for the RS6 Avant Performance is 155 miles per hour, but if you get those like $9,900 carbon ceramic brakes, that'll raise the top speed up to 190 miles per hour. And the fuel economy is 14 mpg in the city, 22 on the highway, and 17 combined. The starting price for the R6 Performance is $127,000, but this one, as tested with a few of those option packages I detailed, is $144,000. But let's frame that with the competition. And for right now, at least, with the demise of that Mercedes-AMG E63S wagon, there's only one direct wagon competitor to this vehicle, and that's the Porsche Panamera Sport Turismo. And because there's a new model for 25, it would be the Turbo E-Hybrid, not the Turbo S E-Hybrid, just the Turbo E-Hybrid. That's $193,000 for that vehicle. It does make 670 horsepower, gets to 60 in 3 seconds flat, and has a top speed of 196 miles per hour. If you're willing to look outside of the wagon segment though, there is the BMW M5 competition that's kind of like the standard of four-door performance, and that one costs $117,000. It makes 617 horsepower, gets to 60 in just 2.8 seconds with a top speed of 190 miles per hour. Or, I mean, if you want to have the most fun possible and give that M5 competition a good run for its money, you could get the Cadillac CT5V Blackwing, which, well, you know how I feel about that one. Because I bought it. Obviously like it. So here's my vote on it. If you want to be a little different and improve your practicality over a sedan and, I mean, improve the styling, it's got to be this R6 Avant, because that Panamera wagon is just too darn expensive. I mean, that's the starting figure. You add in any options, you're into $200,000, and that's so much more money than this, even as tested. Whereas the M5 and the Blackwing, I'll be honest, they're better to drive, but they just don't have the same panache, the same cool factor as a super fast wagon. That's probably worth a little extra money. I hope you guys enjoyed this POV drive review, and I will see you again next time. Yeehaw!